Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here, and I've just been to see Finding Dory, the sequel to Finding Nemo. In this sequel, Dory, the fish with the short-term memory loss in the first movie, goes on an adventure with her friends Marlin and Nemo to go and find her parents, who might be located at a sea life centre. Unfortunately, Dory ends up accidentally splitting up with her friends Marlin and Nemo, but luckily she finds some new friends at the Sea Life Centre who can help her. The heart of this movie has to be Dory herself. She's such a wonderful character. Despite her disability, she manages to survive. She keeps an eye out for people around her. She tries to adapt. She's a really lovely, friendly, and clever character. I love the way this film addresses her disability. It definitely covers the negative side, but it also celebrates the positive side. It shows that she's strong and clever enough to adapt to her short-term memory loss. It shows that she is capable of surviving and living despite it. Now, people have criticised the Finding films for having Dory only remember things for plot convenience, and I've never really seen it that way. I see it as very consistent, because Dory only seems to remember things that are recent and part of emotional attachment. So there is something consistent going on. There is some logic to what she can and can't remember. Because I have my own disability, Asperger's syndrome, I felt as if that I could really resonate with Dory as a protagonist in this film. I do struggle with everyday activities, I think differently to other people, and I do forget very, very, very important things every day. I mean, there are moments and dialogue in this film that spoke to me on such a personal level that I started tearing up. It got to me that much. I definitely feel as if the film's going to speak to parents of disabled children too, through Dory's parents, who we sometimes see flashbacks of. They are such a wonderful couple. I loved these parents. They do everything in their power to make sure that Dory is raised right, that she feels loved, that she has the right knowledge about the world, that she can try to adapt to her short-term memory loss. They are such great parents, and there are moments in the film that a lot of parents of disabled children will connect to. I mean, yeah, they are really loving and work very hard, but they have their moments of fear. They are worried if Dory is going to survive out in the big wide world. Now, Marlin and Nemo are back in this film, like I said, and Marlin does say something kind of dickish, but it's a good thing in the film because it helps it to address what not to say to friends with disabilities, what you really shouldn't say to them because they can't help having these disabilities. And he does feel bad afterwards, he does learn from it. Dory's new friends at the Life Centre are an interesting bunch too. You've got Hank the octopus, Destiny the whale shark, and Bailey the beluga. I think Hank stood out the most to me because, yeah, he acts like an asshole, but we do learn why he can be a jerk. And it's interesting watching him kind of like battle with his internal fears and his new friendship with Dory. It's really interesting because he's sometimes passive aggressive, but at other times you can tell he is caring. He's got a soft side to him. It really adds a lot of dimension to his character. Destiny is also an eye into Dory's past, which is really interesting, really opens up some history that's really, really fascinating. While Bailey actually gives the film a chance to visualize what echolocation could look like from a beluga's perspective. The way they show it is really cool, and the way that he reacts to finding out that he can do it is very exciting and very funny. Like I said, this film is set in a sea life centre, also a fish hospital, and what I love about the setting is how the movie takes advantage of it. It thinks, okay, fish can only use water, they can't exactly walk around the centre, how are they going to get around? And Pixar is very clever at taking advantage of the settings that they create. They really are very intelligent when it comes to that, very creative and imaginative. I mean, look at the escape scene in Toy Story 3, and I just love seeing how the story artist trying to work out, okay, how do we get Marlin and Nemo over there? How do we get Dory over there? And it's really fun and exciting seeing how they work around things, and it definitely links to the message of the film and how Dory has to adapt and survive. how Dory has to use her instinct to work out other options to survive. The Sea Life Centre also has a very interesting announcer. It's Sigourney Weaver. Not Sigourney Weaver as the announcer, literally Sigourney Weaver as herself. I think this is the first time a Pixar film has had a celebrity playing themselves, and it's both charming and definitely reflective of Sigourney herself, because she is pretty much recognised as a nature narration icon in America, as far as I know. It's really funny because I've never seen a Pixar film having their characters refer to celebrities' names. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any that have ever done it before. It's just funny. It's inherently funny hearing Nemo and Marlin and Dory go, Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver says this. Like, what? It's both strange and hilarious. The finale is also really fun. It's so wacky, crazy, and batshit insane. It's probably the craziest finale I've ever seen in a Pixar film. I'm not going to spoil anything, but just imagine GTA with sea life animals. So yeah, I really loved Finding Dory. It's probably on my top 5 Pixar films list. Honestly, it definitely spoke to me on a transcendent level. It's very cleverly executed, and Dory really holds the whole thing together. She's such a strong, wonderful character. And if you're a fan of the first Finding Nemo, you're gonna get a lot out of this movie. It definitely expands on things and presents some new things. I did notice that I didn't laugh that many times, but it didn't bother me because I was more engaged in the dramatic side of things. I was more engaged in the action and adventure and the whole idea of trying to find Dory's parents. That's what I was into. I wasn't really fussed whether there was going to be something funny or not. But if you want to go into this film expecting the same kind of humor and gags as the first movie, there's not that many. It's mainly focused on the serious drama. But yeah, like I said, I liked that aspect of the film, so I wasn't bothered that there wasn't that many laughs. I really enjoyed this film, and I really encourage people to go and see it if you enjoyed the first Finding Nemo. I really encourage people with disability and parents of disabled children to go and see it as well, because like I said, it's going to speak to you. Certainly, it's definitely going to speak to you. I've been Jambareeqi, and I hope you enjoyed my review. Feel free to support me on my Patreon. Cheerio, folks.